Hey y'all, hey. I'm Jay,
I'm C,
and
and
welcome
welcome
to
to
the
the JNC room.
JNC's room. Hey y'all,
There
hey.
we go.
Welcome back. Thank you for clicking on us. If you haven't done so yet,
Subscribe, like, and put the
subscribe,
notification bell
like,
on.
exactly. As you know, I'm Jay.
I'm C.
And
Welcome to the J&C room.
we are back at it again
I'm
to
so
talk
happy y'all here
about
today.
some stuff for real. Shout out to our subscribers.
To all 34 of y'all motherfuckers. Like, comment, and subscribe, please. Tell us what you feel about it. So what today's topic is
So today we want to talk about how far do you go to save someone broken?
Yikes.
Yeah, we want to touch on that.
So what is a broken person to you?
So, I do not like labeling people. That's my biggest thing. C will tell you that. I hate labeling. I hate taking a label on or whatever the case is. So I was like, let me look this up. Let me see where else, what a broken person is. I also ask friends what they think is broken, and of course there's different perspectives to it. So when I looked at it came up as someone, hold on here. I don't know why my phone locked up on me. No, and I got things to do.
They said heifer stop
So
touching me.
he already started. He started. It is when you're suffering emotional pain that is so strong that it changes the way you live, and usually it's a result from an unpleasant event. So I feel like that kind of opens it up to like not only relationship. And that was the thing. I didn't want to, even though that's an aspect of it, I didn't want to just see it from the relationship of like a love relationship, a boyfriend, girlfriend, because sometimes you deal with different people who are broken in different parts of your life. So that was like the first thing or whatever the
God
case is.
damn, how many times you gonna have to
And
put this
then
code in?
I don't know why it's acting up right now, but
Put your screen on.
the one thing that came up in my mind before even looking at the definition was like, the question is, how far do you go? So before anything,
So that's your definition was a broken person.
well, that's what the definition is. You wanted to talk about.
Is that yours only, or do you feel
I-
like it's more to your definition than just
I
that?
think that definition, being that it's so general, yes. Because I feel like someone can be
Okay.
broken from a funeral. Someone can be broken from, not a funeral,
So
but
post-traumatic syndrome.
yeah,
basically,
basically.
So for me, right, a broken person, it's not just emotional. It could be spiritual. It could be like, I've known people that have, separation from God. And that could be a broken person too. Broken in the sense of, and that's just one aspect. You could be broken in the sense of everything you tried in life has failed you.
Basically.
So you feel like you've given up on life. That's also a broken person.
Yeah.
Broken is so many different layers to it. So for me, I think all human beings are broken in one way or another. Now, can we all heal from it? Yes, but we still have a little bit of that there.
So when you say like humans are all broken, do you think like they're just born this way, or
No, we're both born, how we born. And then do parenting, we could be broken. Do hardship, we could
I
be
agree.
broken.
I definitely agree.
We could have had a silver spoon lifestyle, and then as soon as we left our home, now we're introduced into competition, failure, and our competitive aspect.
Yeah.
And then you could be broken because you're so used to being successful in your environment that when you go into a real life environment where there's no coddling, now you're broken. Now you became broken because you failed once or twice.
That's
now,
why I like that definition, because it touches all of that. It doesn't get in depth, but all of those events were unpleasant events.
Yeah,
So
and
but I like how you like went into it, because that's really what it is.
more
It's
detail.
like it's
So, like, how far do you go? How far do you go for a broken person? I mean, it's sort of like now we putting people on a value scale.
Okay. I
And-
touched that also.
Huh?
I touched that also.
This is
but
not
go
a point
ahead.
of mine. This is not a point.
Okay.
This is just me talking. And
Yeah,
seeing what it
yeah.
is. Like now we putting people into a value scale. If your value is not great to that person or to this person or that person, that's gonna tell them they shouldn't stick with you. or how much struggling they have to do with this problem of yours, or this thing that you haven't conquered, or this thing you haven't achieved yet. How long am I gonna spend with you on this before I say bye?
Truth.
You know, so it's just like it's a slippery slope, because you know
It definitely is, though.
everyone deserves love, everyone deserves a chance, but what I'm about to say is crazy. So you know what I'm about to say about the women to ratio.
Okay.
So if it's 8-1, and you see this person got a lot of stress, like a lot of going on in them, it's like, seven more use.
Elaborate.
All right, if it's 8-1, for every 8 women,
It's
it's
eight
one
women
guy.
to one man.
If I'm a man and I see a woman that's really broken severely to where I have to spend time to fix this person, should I invest when there's 7 other women that potentially might be less broken than her? And this is just me being realistic. I'm not saying I agree with this. I'm just saying that this is logical, what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at it from a logical standpoint.
Okay. Okay.
And this goes back to also the paradigm to it. You got women that's not patient with men at all, yet y'all outnumber us. So he's gonna have an easier chance to keep someone, to find someone to keep them. You're gonna have a harder time being kept if you got these big emotional baggages.
Okay.
I'm not saying I'd agree with this. I'm just
Yeah,
this
you
is all
just-
from a logical.
yeah.
So
I don't. So, I get what you're saying. I definitely
it's
get
sort of
what
like
you're
you
saying.
damn if you do, damn if you don't if you're a woman. It's sort of like you gotta approach it correctly.
But even that, like I'm only thinking like, all right, so it's one man to 8 females, right? And even from the
And
perspective,
all I was talking from is a man's perspective dealing with women.
Yeah, and-
there's a whole perspective of women
Yeah.
dealing with men.
basically
that she
And
can speak on.
and that's
that.
what I was. My mind was like, damn. So it's like a damned if you do and damned if you don't.
I said it.
Because and that's what I'm saying. Like it makes a lot of sense, but then it's just like that one man that you come into
The one
play.
out of 8 for
or
y'all.
even like the one out of not even. All right, so from the one man that you run into that got the options of 7, he could be an ain't shit man, and he could be a whole, like he himself could be a whole project. And even from a perspective of a man where you have this one female that is like, yo, she's too much, but I have 7 others. It's not to say
7 other choices.
7 other choices. It's not even a definite that you go through about like 4 and those 4 are better. Those 4 might be worse. And you knowing how females, no offense, I love it. I love my women. I love my sisters, but it's a lot of us out here that are wild and they're extremely delusional. I'm one of them. You get what I mean? In different aspects of my life. You know, I can have a sense of delusion, and I feel that all females do this. So a dude might meet me, right, and deal with the crazy, the hard-headed, or whatever the case is, and then have my good, but then meet the next chick after me that might be totally worse, and then meet the next chick after her, and she be horrible. And then when you look at like the percentage of like depression in women, like it's not a, so it's like it's a damned if you do and damned if you don't.
That's copper.
Yeah.
When did you get that?
2020 pandemic.
We both got it at the same time.
Yeah,
Damn, yo,
yeah.
you see, we think alike. I
So-
got my copper. Her shit a little stylish though. You know,
know.
I ain't got no money for that.
My little, it wasn't that much. It's just very gaudy. It's
I got my sister a copper bracelet.
everyone should
Yeah.
get this.
Sorry to change the topic. you
So
know.
like it's when it comes to that, it's crazy. But you know, the first thing I think of before even like the relationship part is like family and friends, and sometimes you find yourself going to the extreme to save your family and friends, and sometimes depending on like their issues or whatever the case is, even though it's not the same as making a choice of a partner, you get what I mean? It's not the same as that, but I'm only thinking of different parts of your life. And when it comes to this question, the first thing I think about, and something that I have to work on, we had this discussion the other day, is also making sure that you take care of yourself, that you're going to the extreme to also make sure that you are saving yourself, for lack of better words. You get what I'm
Everybody
saying?
wants to be Superman, but who's saving Superman?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's
You get what
you
I
know.
mean?
So that was your first point.
Yeah, that was one of them that, it's just really seeing where you're at. It's kind of like that airplane analogy. I don't know if you heard, like, how they say, like, when the bag drops, you're supposed to put your mask on first
So
before you help anybody else.
similar to what she's saying, my first point is, how far are you willing to go to save someone broken? It depends if I'm searching to fix myself or still looking for answers to certain questions in myself.
Yeah.
How can I fix your ass
Yeah.
when I'm on the floor crying every night? And I'm saying this as a woman or man, I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
so like, how can I fix you when I got shit I gotta work on in myself?
But go ahead. I
Like,
don't want to cut you off.
like it to me, I don't even think that's a smart business decision.
It's not.
It's not, to me. It's like you rolling a dice, because you might really find the right woman, but then you not there yet for this woman or this man. Like, how the hell I'm gonna be with you when I can hardly look at myself in the mirror every
I'm
day?
all jacked up. But a lot of people do this to run away from that. And I mean, that's going on a whole nother topic, but at the same time, a lot of people do that. A lot of people try so hard. I mean, I worked in the therapeutic kind of field for a very long time. And I mean, it had forced me to deal with a lot of things that, I had to work on. But, people, in their regular day life, they'll help so many people to avoid to, like, look in the mirror. So it's true. You get what I mean? And when they do that, it takes a toll on you. And that was another one of my points. It's just like, and granted, this is like, what does it have to do with saving someone? It's like some of the things you have to think about before even putting yourself out there for people, and just making sure that, like, you have yourself together, making sure that, you're looking in the time mirror, you're taking the time for yourself, or whatever the case is,
So, like, to me, like, that's a big thing. Like, you got to be able to, you can't Superman everybody, you know what I'm saying? And no offense, I told her this week, like a couple days ago, like, being a sponge. Sometimes people sponge on other people's problems.
Yep.
And in reality, their problems is just as bad. And you working on other people's problems, and you're not working on your own. Like, now this person has got through their problem, and you stuck with the puzzle still not fixed. The puzzle's still not together. And now you need help putting the puzzle. Now you got name it. Now you need help putting the pieces together. But the same person you helped them. They're like, girl, shit, you smart. You gonna figure this shit out. Like, you over here crying about that little shit. But yet you just come over here complaining about your shit. I should have said the same thing, and that's not how work. That's not how you're not supposed to do it. But I'm just saying, like, you got to go into this knowing where you at. And honestly speaking, everybody try to do these things on themselves. Like, it's nothing wrong with going to therapy.
Basically. That's truth. I also feel like
Because even, shit, God probably need therapy. You know?
Lord God, I know God needs some God needs some therapy. Another thing that came across my mind is, like, sometimes people will go to the end of, the world to help somebody, and in reality they're helping somebody that's manipulative. So just really being aware of, like, what steps you want to take with this person, like, and being realistic with their own journey. Like, you can help somebody but so far. I always talk about, like, planting seeds, and I'll plant a seed. I'm not gonna OD and try to, like, do the most or whatever the case is. I'll plant a seed of, like, a good idea, or maybe this is something you could do or whatever the case is. Because at the end of the day, everybody gonna do whatever they want to do. I'm a big believer in that. You can't change nobody or whatever the case is. And they can't change unless they want to change. And it's not going to happen overnight. So I feel like also being just mindful of that person, their process, how long it's going to take them, what they're really doing, if it's a good intention, or they're actually lost and broken, or just trying to get a come up off of somebody, or trying to manipulate somebody. Because that happens sometimes when You
Yeah,
try
very
to
true.
do too much for somebody, and before you know it, oh, they're like, oh, can you, before you know it, that little $10 that they tried to borrow from you, now it's like $1,000. That little, you just, or that little time that you do this, now they asking you to like build them a whole
So
house, like,
my next point is pretty simple. How much potential do you see in them?
yeah,
And can this get to the last step? Cause why are we wasting each other's time if you don't even see yourself with them? Cause if you living for the moment and that's cool, but then you don't need to take off that you don't need to take on that emotional baggage if you just having a little fun and carrying on. You know what I'm saying? If you just I'm not here for a long time, but I'm here for a good time type of mentality, then you don't need to be taking on nobody's baggage. You just need to and get the fuck out. And
what's
then,
the like
you
here,
know,
here, here?
spank it a little bit,
Okay,
hit it from the,
all right.
and then you just call it twice. You know what I'm saying? You call it, I might call you once, and I might call you back 3. But baby, that's all it's gonna be.
How do you feel about this when it comes to like your close people? You're like your your
People, your
family, your
friends.
people,
That's different.
your family.
I'm really talking about this in a relationship.
So how
This
do you
is
feel about it? Like the same question, but how do you feel about it when it comes down to like your family, your friends, or
the same point
yeah, like how far would you go?
to help them.
Yeah, and
If you got to know they're capable of receiving the help, like potential, you seeing them as in the sense of, are they actually gonna take this word and go somewhere? If they're not listening, how much talking you gonna do if they're not listening to you? The potential got to be to listen, and can they get to the last step of success, whatever they deem in their mind? Similar. It's a similar thing. You know what I'm saying? But with friends and family, you more so, you not devoting as much as to a person you're dealing with.
you're not devoting as much to your family and friends.
Nah, you're not. When there's someone when there's someone you with, you're gonna do more naturally. Now, if it's your mama, that's totally different character level. If it's your sister, it's totally, but if you're talking about a cousin or your best friend, your
Yeah.
best friend, they might get similar treatment to your sister, but not to your mama.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, me, my friends are very. I have a very.
But you're different.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So
Like
I'm
me,
talking
I'm
about
thinking.
the general.
Yeah. I'm thinking more of like the
Like I
ones
said,
that are close to you.
If your life is in shambles, you gotta move at a certain pace. If you ain't got your shit together, why you trying to get somebody else shit together? You gotta look at it like common sense after a certain point. Now, if you ain't got no common sense, then baby, you got some problems. Homeboy, you got some problems you need to work on. Cause how you gonna be out here fixing people when you ain't fixing yourself?
I don't know.
You can't be a mechanic if your car not fixed.
Truth. But I'm thinking in the sense of mechanics learning to become a mechanic.
Are you talking about you talking about somebody in school to be a mechanic?
No, meaning like the metaphor where you're just like you can't fix a car
If your car need fixing too.
yeah. And I'm thinking more the sense of like two mechanics that are learning to be a mechanic. Like two people who are
Can't be a mechanic if they're
meaning
called
like
you know what I
meaning-
mean, right?
No, meaning not so people who are trying to learn to be a mechanic.
Mechanic. In
So
school.
in that sense. But
Yeah.
not literally in the school, but it's more of like the
I know
school
what
is
you
like
mean.
life, you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So like me, whereas somebody's life could be in shambles and my life is not that great, but I guess people would think you're doing an extra mile if you're just being supportive or if you're just still there. Like I have
Nah,
friends
if you're
who
supportive,
don't,
you're just being a good person.
but that also helps in saving somebody. Like I don't think more of like giving stuff. I also think of like the support wise, and even though there should be a
Once again, I'm not saying. I'm saying like, if you're overextending yourself to someone when you're not overextending yourself to your own life,
that's when it's not.
not
cool.
good. It's
Yeah.
not no bueno. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Mm-hmm. But that's what I mean it as. I mean,
Yeah.
I think you could be in shambles and give somebody words of advice.
Yeah.
But now if you're devoting yourself to them,
It becomes where you losing track of your own ish.
Yeah, that's
You get what I'm
crazy. That's
saying?
bananas.
Like that's another thing. Like when it comes to the point of like you're losing track of your goals, your vision, and it's taking a toll on you. And now it's like, like that. It should never go that far. You get what I mean? It should never You get what you get what I mean?
That's
Like
kind of wild, crazy though. Yeah, you're right.
it's
Though.
like, but people do that. You get what I mean? Like I
Those,
mean,
but those are people that are showing that they have a problem
yeah,
and they need help too.
yeah. Like I mean, I had talked about this in my like last. I think I lightly talked about it, but it's just like where I worked at for very long. Where I worked at a residential therapeutic residential treatment center for emotionally disturbed kids. Layman's terms, it was like a 24-hour foster home for kids. Some kids had emotional issues. Some kids had like a mental disorder. Some kids were very, they were very volatile.
Yikes.
And like they all had a messed up situation. Right now, the job had became very consuming, and I had became very focused on the well-being of these kids to the point where I ignored. I mean, I actually my knee issues that I have now is because
He was backflipping them little motherfuckers.
nah, I actually got into I had hurt my knee. Well, in a restraint, I hurt my knee, and I was. It's gonna sound stupid and crazy, but it is. It's a problem of you not wanting to deal with your own problems. You not wanting to see yourself, your own reflection. Even through like the my knee pain and the knee stuff and the recovery, I didn't do it correct. Why? Because I'm so focused on like
Helping the kids.
How are the kids doing? Is this going right or whatever the case is? Like on days off, I'm still checking to see that everything is going good. If anything crazy happened on my day off, I remember my vacation. I ended up leaving my vacation to go help a child. I'm granted, for reasonable, it was reasonable, reasons of why I did it for real. But it's still not healthy. You get what I mean? Not taking care of yourself, not making sure everything is straight. You know, and just not making sure that everything in your life is together. You get what I mean? Like, and my health kind of, what's the word, declined, as well as like
Deteriorated?
deteriorated. Even like my mental health a little bit, and not because of the fact I chose to just help these kids out, make sure they're good, make sure they was right mentally, make sure they was, and not taking care of myself. You get what I mean? And I didn't even realize it. So maybe like 10 years in a game. So it's just like it can happen, and like you said, that's people who needs help. You get what they do. I did. You get what I'm saying? And
that goes into my third point.
yeah,
What is this person's problem?
the person that's trying to save or the person they trying to
Person
save.
that has the problem. What is this person's problem? How much do I have to devote to helping them? Am I even willing, body, and able for this task? How much mental strain and physical hurdles I have to go through to help this person?
Basically.
Is it even worth that? Is what I'm doing to help them contractual for me? Which means, the contract is when two people, they both getting something out of this. And this goes into my second point. My second point is how much potential you see in this person. So, like, these 2 points, they kind of go together. Like, how much time do I got to devote to doing this with you? To know, even if you're worth this. What if I get you to the finish line and then now you got it. Now you like the grass is green on the other side. Now I did all this devotion to you, all this helping you.
What do you mean? Like now you got to the point where you need to get, and then you leave you
and
or
then
something?
she is like the grass is green on the other side.
Now I'm gonna go over
And
there.
now she want to go. Stories like this on both sides, where they got to a certain point and where they needed to be at, and now they're attracting different things now because they got that cloud over them.
Yeah.
Now their energy is different. Now they got this vibrance to them. Now they're like, oh.
I think that's where like I lack that boundary of it being contractual, because I think when that kind of happens, it's just like the only thing, for people who are, just about doing that, sometimes you have to have the real, I think for me, what helps me is just realizing like at the end of it that they still might not be appreciative at all. They might just do that. But I feel like if I'm genuinely doing this, because I usually, it's genuine when I do it. It's not, but like you said,
I'm not knocking you feeling the way you feel.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's
that Jesus stuff. Remember I told you Jesus is a beautiful person. You know what I'm saying? Everybody can't do that. Not knowing that your friends are going to betray you and still do right by them. Like, I ain't got that.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah.
I mean, has it happened before? Yeah, I know. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Literally, I don't mean to talk about Jesus and God and all this and
But
this.
it's the truth. He had
but
that.
he known through
That
spiritual revelation,
revelation.
revelation that he was going to be betrayed.
Basically.
People were going to lie on him. People were going to do this to save their skin of their behinds.
Yeah. He still led with love.
And still led with love. I'm sorry. That's why Jesus died for our sins. I am not Jesus. Boo. Baby. Darling. Lovely. Gorgeous. You know you make my heart. You know you make my heart tickle.
And that's where,
but
like,
baby,
that's where I lack, because it's more of like, yo,
it's not that it's a lack for you. I think that's a genuinely good thing about you.
Like
But then you got to deal with the emotional dumpage later. Whatever happens, you got to deal with, like, damn, I was there for that person. I did this for this person. And then you got to worry about 3 years later from now, you're going to get that phone call I'm so sorry for the way I treated you. La, la, la,
But you
la.
see, like, I had to get to a point to be able to do that. To be like, whatever, it is what it is. Because
I'm not saying that.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
you know what I'm saying? It's a good thing you have that,
I know,
right?
I'm just, talking about it, whatever. But I think that's what it was. Like, I had been through so many events in where someone close or someone that, and not only relationship, friends, family, that kind of, and they do this, where it'll come to a situation where, like, they'll show you, like, it didn't matter what you did for them, they still don't, they'll still do some grimy ish to you.
Yeah, but
because like, I've seen it, when I am actually, helping anybody or trying to be, it's more of like, listen, I'm gonna do it, and I already expect them. Not to say like, all people are like that.
But you are in people's lives for a reason.
Well, yeah.
It may be a season, it might be a week, it might be a day. You know what I'm saying? You there for a reason, and
basically
you might be there to help them, and you might only be there for a moment. For me,
because I was gonna be like, to that reason thing, but go ahead. I'm gonna say it afterwards.
Yeah, like, these things happen. You in somebody's life for a reason. Mm-hmm. Now, if they get the purpose of why you there, they grasp it. Maybe they finally get over whatever they gotta get over.
Yeah,
that's beautiful. But you don't know if you're there permanently or seasonally. Me personally, I gotta know how much I gotta think you worth it for me to devote myself to you. Now, if I get nothing on the back end from it, I could live with the results. But at least I gotta feel in my heart I'm doing this for the potential of something. If I'm just here helping you and I know this ain't going nowhere.
And this is like a relationship you talk
relationship,
about. Yeah.
Friendship too.
Okay.
Because this goes to my last point. I ain't trying to go there yet, but how many points you got so far?
I don't know. I'm just talking there. I got like 2 more points to bring up.
I'm on my last point. I want you to get your next point.
Before I go into that, it was more the reason thing that you said, like the reason and it's also a lesson. You get what I mean? Like, you don't ever know if this person, like, you were supposed to be there, but you don't ever know if this person.
But do you know why I said this point?
Why?
Because I had that lesson already.
Yeah, you get what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Like, these people, they come into your life as a lesson, and it could be, chill out. You don't need to go that far for this person. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like based on what you said or whatever the case is. That's what I thought of.
Some people are repeat offenders though.
Yeah, and sometimes it takes that to, like, I'm not gonna lie. I love my babies, but I have people who are close to me that are repeat offenders. And
do you think you're a repeat offender?
Yeah, I do. You get what I mean? I think, but
which means
depending on how. So when I mean, like, it depends on like, I think, like, severity.
This is why I like this topic. This is why I like this topic.
Severity? Do I think severity wise? Do I think like a high severity? Do I think I'm a repeat offender? No. I think I'm a repeat offender on, like, there's just certain shit about me that you ain't gonna change overnight or over months or over years.
I'm gonna tell the truth here.
Like that, yeah. But when it comes to, like, hold on, low, like high, like, for example, betrayal. That to me is like high severity. That's what I mean about, like, repeat offenders. When I talk about, like, I have repeat offenders who have somewhat betrayed my trust. You get what I mean? So like how I move with them is not, not saying like, oh, you didn't know, but because you have to protect yourself. It's like I'm a go the length, but I already know how far I can go because this is a repeat offending of the betrayal, and that's also
See, you
a
talking
lack
about one
of
aspect.
boundary.
To me, see, I looked at repeat offender as just you keep doing it over.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
yes, you're
yeah,
yes, you are. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like,
definitely.
but I'm a repeat offender on things I do towards myself. I'm not a repeat offender towards people. I'm a repeat offender towards myself, and it's really hard to break these habits. This is what I mean by what we're talking about. Like the topic in itself.
What's up with these electronics? They
How
keep
far are you
locking
willing to?
up.
How far are you willing to go to save someone broken? How far are you willing to go to save yourself?
So that's your answer to it.
Yeah, because
Overall.
yeah, like not my answer, but this is. I didn't write this as a point, but this is just realistically.
Yeah.
How far are you willing to go to save yourself? Because sometimes people are ready to save other people, they ain't even save themselves yet.
Real talk.
Why are you worried about that child getting baptized? Baby, you ain't baptized yet. Why are you worried about what they got going on, or people, even your family? If you're not worried about what you got going on,
Yeah.
you got to work within yourself, man. You got to work in your parameters. You got to work to make yourself dynamic. Because if you're working on everybody else, how you get better?
Yeah. It has to be my overall answer to it is like, how do I put this? Because I don't want to make it seem like I don't want to come across like I don't believe that there's a possibility that you can save somebody broken. I think that people that are broken can be saved to a certain, there's a certain level. But I believe that when it comes to the saving, it always goes back to like, where are you with yourself?
That's what I said.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I agree with this. Where are you with yourself? You get what I mean? And making sure that you put your mask on first before trying to put the mask on to somebody else on a plane.
Damn, Future got some music.
You get what I mean?
But
I meant more on the airplane analogy. Where like he says like put your mask on first before you try to put the child's mask on, and it's because you're gonna try to put the next person's mask on, and in doing that you die, and you might not even be able to finish putting that person's mask on. So in reality, you not checking for yourself first. You kill both people. Crazy. Not saying but that's what I mean. Like you just have to check in with yourself.
That's your third point?
That was my overall.
What's your third point?
My third point was.
I want to know. This is
Let me see.
What's your third point?
I guess that you are.
Now she's an opera singer.
I also put.
Yikes!
How important is this person?
That's what I just said.
Yeah, I know, but
Stop copying my shit.
That was there. How
Stop
important was
copying
this
my
person?
shit, man.
What's included in this saving?
What's included in this?
What is included? Because you know what?
You acting like this is
Let me tell you why.
This ain't a brunch.
Nah, but for real. Like, when I say what's included in the saving, like, what are the things you
have
have
a
to do?
401k package.
Matter of fact, no, for real. For real, though. Listen. So, even, for example, the recent thing that, and I keep bringing him up, it's crazy. Maybe
Who's
I need
him?
my father. We call him Choop. I'm going to call him Choops. Choopies, and that's how we're going to refer to him here. Choopies, right?
I don't know what that means, but it sounds crazy. It's a whole bunch of second biggest language in the world.
I'm gonna
Spanish.
say
They
that,
know what it means.
So the reason why we call him it's funny why we call him Choopies.
He ain't shit.
Well, he got some shit to him. I ain't gonna call nobody. He got some shit to him. He ain't shit. But chupacabra was an animal back in the day in the 90s that was like hitting all the farms and just sucking the blood of the cows and leaving them dead. Chupacabra. That was the animal. Yeah, I know. But it was like, you remember this? It was like the 90s.
Well, what I know.
And it was all over. Chupacabra was hitting all the countries or whatever, but all the farms and sucking the blood.
I just want to say, I'm sorry. My phone was ringing during this recording, so I'm sure there's going to be some vibration going on in that phone just now. I ended it. I'm sorry. Just letting you know. So
he was a little animal that went around just sucking blood till they killed him. So we had gave this
Vampire,
name
huh?
to my father, because that's kind of what he did. Kind of
Suck your blood until he kill you?
I mean, just sucked your blood until he kind of took the soul and spirit out of you. He just broke you down, and it's kind of like the relation.
You want to say this on air about your pops?
Man, it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like, people know him. People who know me, who actually know me, not dead ass. It was a very abusive. It was an abusive household. You get what I mean? A domestic violence. You know, there was emotional abuse, physical abuse. Like,
Yo.
I'm just being extremely honest.
No.
What's the problem?
Big casual. My pops ain't shit. Like,
I mean,
listen, her pops ain't shit. My mom ain't shit either. It's all good.
sometimes it is what it is. You get what I'm saying? It's the truth. You know, so that's what we game. And then the funny part is, you know, later on in my adult years, because we had called him this. This is how I referred to him when I talked to my friends. When I referred to him, we was like, oh yeah, chupacabra, da 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 da. So one time I was talking to my when I moved upstate, my roommates. He was like, "What?" I was just like, "Yeah, that's my father." So my homegirl, she found it funny. We made up this whole story about her having a whole affair with him. And one day she was like, "Yeah, Chuppies came over to see me," and that shit had me so. That shit had me rolling.
I'm sorry.
That I just called them Chuppies
This
from
is how
now
toxic
on.
women are. They talking about smashing her pops.
I mean,
it's crazy.
Because it was funny. Like,
It's
yeah,
not funny.
It's
It's
hilarious.
not funny.
It's hilarious. So Chuppies is what we call them. Either way, Chuppies is what it is. So the reason why I bring him up, the saving and what is included in this saving, and the reason why I brought him up is because recently I told you the whole feeling of calling him so that the next conversation I have is not like, oh, you're in a casket and not.
You came to this conclusion because there's so much people dying.
Yeah, but it was before that though. It's been like this for a minute. You get what I mean? Sometimes I get the feeling to call, but then because he's so toxic, because he lived in his warped way and whatever he did was the right way to live, to save him, to call him and try to save him would be.
You're not calling to save him.
But
You're calling to see how you're doing.
No, but I'm gonna be honest. It'd be really to be like to try to help him with the last couple of years. But I can't do that. That's what I'm saying when I say it's like to even try to have a conversation with him so that therefore he's not alone, or no one should die alone. Even though, granted, people
it's choices.
People make choices where they do this, you know. But it's just like it's that feeling, and for me to even try to do that would have to be me dealing with my abuser saying he's not sorry about anything. That's how it comes off. So when I say like including in the saving, and that was just one example, it's more of like in saving, how does this, it's like what we've been saying. How does this affect you? What do you have to do in this whole situation? And if in doing this, are you fucking yourself up? Because you can.
Me personally, it's a pretty easy answer. Like, both my parents are toxic, so, sometimes you just gotta call and say, hey, how you doing? Things good? Cool. See you later. Like, you trying to sit there and help. You sitting there trying to have, like, a whole civilized conversation. You can't have a civilized conversation with a tiger.
Yeah.
The tiger gonna roar at you. Sooner or later gonna be like, nigga, you look good. Time to bite.
Yeah.
And that's just what it is. Like, you just gotta understand that some people are just prehistoric creatures.
Yeah.
Stuck in their habitat, stuck in their environment.
That's true.
And that's just what it is.
Yeah.
So, what's your last point?
Well, that was it.
That's your last point for real?
It was another one. But that was it. And what are the extremes? But that all falls into what we was just talking about. So
my last point, it's a really simple last point. This is something that even she's gonna touch up. Do they listen?
I thought I was gonna cry.
Do they listen? Do they comprehend? And is it a fight for you to even help them? If you got to fight to help them, baby, time to throw them two deuces up. Say, adios, amigos.
Basically.
Chupacabra.
Basically.
And I don't mean no shame on that. Like, I'm just being real. Like, listen, man. Some people need help. And some people can't get help because they can't get past themselves.
That's so true.
So, how far are you willing to go to save someone broken? Depends on how broken they are. Depends on where your emotional state is. Depends on how much value you have for this person. And do you see it going to the next step? And do you see the potential in them?
And being very aware of who
And
they
do
are.
they listen and comprehend? Because if they don't do that, they're not going to get better.
I don't believe that if someone don't listen or comprehend, they won't get better. Some people comprehend and some people listen at a different rate, and some people ingest things very differently.
That's cool.
No, I'm not. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just
I'm saying
saying.
that's cool.
I
I'm saying
think
that's
that
cool. Like,
it's, it's
do they
because
listen and do they
sometimes
comprehend? And is it a fight for you to for them to get the message?
I'm just. I think it's when it comes to that, we're like polar opposites.
Cool.
Me and you when it comes to this, because I think I'm just thinking of like the people that I know and how many times I've tried and accomplished and helping somebody get to a higher level, and I believe that it's at the end of the day, it's really up to you.
You're only supposed to fight your oppressor.
There's people who take a while to they'll you can say something over and over and over, and it might at the moment seem like they're not listening because they're still not moving in that way. But and I've seen this in several like incidents where you could say something to someone over and over and they're not doing it. They're not doing it. They're doing the total opposite of it. But I've seen that happen in several incidents where you're thinking like, oh, it's not getting any better. And then eventually at their pace, depending on what their pace is, and depending on if you have patience for that pace, because if you don't have patience for that pace, you don't have patience for that pace, and you ain't got to do shit. But I've seen people kind of like, it takes them a while to get there. It takes them a while to comprehend it. But that's why I believe in like planting seeds.
So here's my last joint, I'm going to say, right? Off what she said, because this is going right at what she's saying.
Yeah.
You fight your oppressors. You don't fight the people that's trying to give you freedom.
I mean, you see how you see it. There's different ways to look at it.
Yeah.
And I don't think any way is wrong or right.
I don't think any way is wrong or right, but you should make the people fighting for your freedom. It should be as hard as for them as the oppressors.
At the end of the day, you do what you want to do. Like, because it is. That's how I feel. Like, I could say, because right now you're like, you should only fight your oppressors.
Okay.
But I have several incidents in where, like, I fought. And, like, because I fought so much, and I mean fought.
But you know what I'm talking about.
You know,
right?
I'm
talking about receiving help. Someone's trying to help you. I'm talking about the listening part.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That's what I'm saying.
So why would you fight the person trying to help you?
I mean, if you
fight the people that's trying to oppress you.
I just gave you an example. I just told you. I just explained. So I even used myself as an example earlier when you was telling this to me because, and I've had several people say this to me, and I realized this on maybe like about a month ago when I was talking to my mother, and she gave me a direction or something. But it was like an uplifting thing or whatever the case is, right? And I had said to her, Ma, please don't tell me to do it because my psyche's so jacked up from whatever that I'm in my nature, I'm going to automatically not do it, even though I know it's the right thing to do. And it's not a choice thing. Sometimes it's a thing that you do innately because of shit that you've been through. So that's what I'm just like, sometimes it's, some people
have problems with people.
For me, that's what I'm saying. For me, that's why I say like I can see depending on who it is, depending on how important that person is, depending on whatever the case is, I can see the fight.
We all got struggles.
Some people are not gonna agree with it. Some people are gonna have more of a, if you ain't gonna listen, if you're not gonna comprehend it, you're not gonna do, I ain't with it, and that's totally fine. But I also, me personally, I can see it. I can deal with it. I have patience enough. And depending on the person. That's the biggest thing. Depends on the person. Like, I can't say how many times I've given advice and I don't expect them to do it, or I've given help, or I've given something. If they don't do it, they don't do it. Because at the end of the day, a person gonna do whatever they're gonna do.
It's okay.
But I believe both. I think both ways are good. It's just what works for you. And what
works for you,
is
getting to the solution. If you're not getting to the solution, it's not working for you. Period. Results matter.
Depending on how quick you want that result.
No, I mean, if you get to the result, then you're good.
Yeah, basically. But sometimes you don't see that result. Like, Sometimes you ever had, all right, boom, this never happened to you where like you had a friend like da 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 da, you telling them, you telling them, you telling them. I know you did. You telling them, you telling them, you telling them.
Hello, I'm talking. I'm working on one
Well,
right
no,
now.
I'm talking about the actual result. Like, I don't think any of the, I'm not sure if any of the results you actually wanted me to do actually happened. But I'm talking more I'm talking more in the sense of like someone that you're saying something to,
Yeah.
something to, and they finally get to the result, but they didn't get to the result the way you wanted them to, or got to the result in the time frame that you expected them to get to.
You know what happens?
Because I feel like
This always happens. Corey, you were right.
yeah, but that's a seed you
And
planted.
then I'm just gonna be like, you finished it, cool.
Yeah.
But once again, because I always tell people, if I'm giving you information for yourself, it's not benefiting me. It's not benefiting me at all. I'm not saying this to benefit myself. I'm saying it for it to benefit you. So if you want to be lackluster with the information, that's on you.
Yeah.
But then all this time you wasted when you could have done this and had so much other things accomplished. Because they all do this. They be like, wow, I should have listened to you the first time. Yeah, but it's okay. You did it.
Basically.
But now they self-reflect.
learn.
But then the self-reflect is, I should have just listened from jump. And I'd be like, cool, you didn't.
But that self-reflection in itself is needed. That's why I say, like, it's just like you're going to do whatever you want to do.
Exactly. But I just want to say, this was a really good episode. I feel like we still got a lot to talk about in this episode. But I think we did a lot.
I think we hit some points. What do you guys think? First of all, I'm going to need you guys to comment. Even if you like, girl, Jay, you don't make no sense. This ain't it. I don't know. I need that. I need those comments.
Me too.
Down there.
Me too.
We're not.
I ain't right.
Like, we don't care. Like, not that we don't care. We want it.
I
we
miss
care
5%
to
of the time.
hear. We care to hear everybody's perspective.
Give us topics.
I don't
Give us things to
care
talk
if
about.
you disagree. Tell us. Oh,
Give
no,
us stories.
You guys
emails.
prove this. Whatever the case is, drop those comments. What do you guys think about this topic? Have you guys ever dealt with this topic and where you felt like you had to save somebody and it took a toll on you? Whether you felt like you didn't do enough, whether you didn't know whether you wanted to jump in, whether you felt like you needed some saving. All of it. Topics. What you want to talk about?
Jenny's a Superman.
I do.
And I need a Batwoman.
I need a Superman. I do need a Superman. I will not disagree about bats.
Later, y'all.
Later, guys. Click, share.